And here we go. That's right, everybody. Welcome back to the Medium Podcast, the show for those who like the in-between. I'm joined again by my friends MJ Eisenberg, Lucas Lima, tech guy Brandon Morantz, and I, of course, am your host, Sam Petosa. Here we are, week 2 of the Medium Podcast. We had an exciting episode last week where we made some game picks, and we launched our Twitter, and on our Twitter we launched the most fuckable spiral poll. That's a poll that we're going to be doing every week for college football, right, guys?
I believe so.
And this week's winner of the most fuckable spiral poll was Tua Tagovailoa, the Alabama quarterback who currently leads the Heisman odds. Only attempted 8 passes, Lucas?
Something like that. I can pull it up for sure, though.
I'm pretty sure he only attempted 5, actually, but that was enough to win this week's most fuckable spiral after demolishing Louisiana Lafayette this weekend. Alabama, Tua Tagovailoa, this week's most fuckable spiral. Everyone agree with that consensus?
No. I actually voted for Trace McSorley just because he might have not had the most fuckable spiral, but
That's what the whole
he just played really good against Ohio State, so I had to respect him for that.
I understand your logic, but the poll is about the most fuckable spiral, not the best performance.
I voted
then
for
I read it wrong.
McSorley as well. I thought it looked pretty tight.
I mean, we had a lot of votes, 11 votes. I mean, oh my god. That's how many people vote for the president.
Yeah.
He went 8 for 8 for 128 yards and 2 touchdowns. So.
All right, Tua, if you're listening, because we know you are with our 20 viewers, Tua Tagovailoa, you are the Medium Podcast most fuckable spiral of Week 5 of the college
Feel
football
free to
season.
call in and accept the award.
So last week on the show, we also had some game picks for college and NFL. Lucas Lima's going to hit you with the stats from that.
All right, so college football pick results. Our host Sam went 1-2, MJ went 1-1, tech guy Brandon Morantz went 1-2. I went 3-0, undefeated.
I blame Alan Bowman's punctured lung.
NFL pick results.
Stanford sucks, just saying that.
Somewhat similar. MJ would have won a nice 3-0 had he not picked the tie for the Steelers and Ravens.
It was a tie at halftime.
It was an aggressive play call. We have to respect it.
I respect it, but 2-1 for MJ. Sam went 1-2 again. Went 3-0. So
Which was the only one I got right? The Patriots?
yeah.
Anyways, my picks weren't the only thing that sucked this past weekend. My favorite artist, Kanye West, was said to be dropping his new album, Yandhi, on Saturday night, but just did his Kanye thing and disappointed us all and flaked. But in other news on Friday, Lil Wayne made his return to music after 5 years dropping the whatever that last album was called. I forgot. What was it called?
I don't remember.
I don't even remember.
Most recent thing I remember was the 2 Chainz collab. But
I don't know. Lil Wayne dropped on Friday for the first time in 5 years. It was incredible. If you haven't listened to it, go listen to it. Even though in one of his songs he says he wipes the stars off the window of his spaceship, how does one do that?
Well, sometimes when you're driving your spaceship, just like rain gets in your car and you have to use
Stardust.
your rain wipers or whatever.
It's a real issue for
You have to
astronauts,
use your
for sure.
I think of it
star
like
wipers.
like when you're driving fast on the highway and there's like a bunch of bugs and they get on your windshield and your grill. Like I feel like it's that kind of situation.
This just doesn't make
Maybe
me feel
Lil
better.
Wayne's been to space and we just don't know.
I mean, that would not surprise me.
Maybe that's where he's been
He
all this
honestly
time.
kind of does look like an alien.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Carter 5 was incredible. I'd still put it behind Astroworld this year, but fuck you, Kanye.
Trusting Kanye West release dates is like trusting Young Thug release dates. You just don't do it. You believe it when you see it in your library. And that's just all I have to say about that.
Yeah, man. Kanye's a gnat. Although Sundays are for wearing red, the one thing that still dominates NFL Sundays, especially in hindsight of Tiger Woods' shitting the bed performance this week in the Ryder Cup, is the NFL. But one of the greatest stories in the NFL this week actually didn't come on Sunday. It came Monday night, where second-year quarterback Patrick Mahomes led the Chiefs, actually, to a comeback to beat the Denver Broncos on Monday Night Football. Luke Lima has some stats for you on that.
He played pretty well last night. Didn't have the Monday night. Sorry, he didn't have his usual 6 touchdown game that he usually does, but he showed up where it mattered in the fourth quarter. His line finished with 304 yards, a touchdown, overall, some solid play.
Did anybody see the pregame throw?
I did.
That was ridiculous.
I think I
honestly-
might have came in my pants.
Honestly, that might be the stars that Lil Wayne is wiping off his spaceship.
He
Like,
casually threw the ball
I have no
90
clue where
yards.
that ball went.
He casually threw that outside the stadium. Like,
But
it's ridiculous.
one of the bigger storylines from that night is that Patrick Mahomes now has more left-handed completions than interceptions this NFL season, and actually as many left-handed completions as interceptions in his NFL career, as he did throw that interception in Week 17 in Denver last year. We all know that, but Patrick Mahomes, man, he's legit.
No, for sure. I think that when you look at that kid's arm and you look at the way he can maneuver around the pocket, look at the system that Andy Reid allows him to play in, and just the way he, like, if you watch, he has complete control over that offense. He's always doing audibles. Like, he's not just going there and, like, using the system. Like, he's completely, like, he's just playing so well. It's unbelievable. Like, he might actually be one of the most talented quarterbacks in the NFL right now. And I know this getting kind of hot, but right now he's in my top 5, 100%.
Andy Reid is cooking up a barbecue with Patrick Mahomes in that offense.
Look, this is what I said last week. If Eagles can win a Super Bowl, why can't Andy Reid? That's what I said. But, well, one quarterback flourished this week. One quarterback kind of floundered. Fitzmagic turned into Fitztragic. Ryan Fitzpatrick being pulled at halftime after getting blown out by the monsters of the Midway, the Chicago Bears.
Da Bears.
The Bears. With a completion percentage of 50, 126 yards, an interception, and a QBR of 49.8, and is being benched after the bye week in Week 6 in favor of Jameis Winston. It had to end at some point.
Yeah, I think I called it last week on the podcast. He's done. But he did prove himself enough to probably get a contract somewhere else and repeat the same exact cycle. So I'm going to say it's the Fitz-tragic cycle. Like, you have the life cycle, it's the Fitz-tragic cycle. So next year, don't be surprised if you see him on another NFL team putting up big numbers for 3 weeks.
Look, the Dolphins have a history of not drafting quarterbacks, and Ryan Tannehill clearly looks like it's not his job anymore. But we might see Ryan Fitzpatrick in Miami next year because the Dolphins clearly will not draft a quarterback. So
His whole game plan's pretty smart. He likes to go off enough to get a contract next year, but then he gets benched, so that way he doesn't get injured.
Yeah.
Smart man.
Do you
Smart
guys
man.
That's what that Harvard education does for you.
that is what that Harvard education does for him.
do you guys keep up with Bleacher Report's animated shorts that they post?
Is it Gridiron
Gridiron
Heights?
Heights.
Not this. I do like Gridiron Heights, but this one, I don't know if it actually was Gridiron Heights, but it was like an Ocean's 11 spoof, with like the crappy quarterbacks of the NFL, and Ryan Fitzpatrick was pulling off a heist for the starting job for quarterback, and it was very funny. I endorse. This is an endorsement for Bleacher Report and their animated shorts. Thank you. If you guys are watching.
Okay, so the bottom line is that Ryan Fitzpatrick, it's over. It's sad. The cycle happened, and we're gonna miss you. We're gonna miss your beard, but hockey's back, so Brent Burns now has the best beard in sports again. But we're kind of going like a NFL sandwich here. There's a good thing that happened, a bad thing that happened. Now we're talking about another good thing that happened. The great show on turf was in 2001, but we might be updating that year. It might be in 2018 with these Rams. Instead of being in St. Louis, they're back in Los Angeles. The Rams have the number one offense in the NFL. They're led by Jared Goff, who currently has 1,406 passing yards. Todd Gurley, who has 338 rushing yards. And their receiving core, which is ridiculous, led by Brandon Cooks, Robert Woods, and Cooper Kupp, after demolishing the Minnesota Vikings this week. Are the Rams the new greatest show on turf?
Yes, I'd say the Rams are probably the only team in the NFL right now that are like unstoppable. I just don't see any team beating them. And plus, not to be biased, but I do have Jared Goff and Brandon Cooks on my fantasy team, so huge Rams guy out here.
You gotta look when you look at the Chiefs. You look at a team that has a ridiculously bad defense, but a ridiculous offense. The Rams have an insane offense, and even though they didn't show on Thursday night, their defense is good. Like, that defensive line, that's scary. Like, quarterbacks stay up at night
Did you
thinking
see that?
about Aaron Donald. Like, Kirk Cousins had an opportunity to win the game. No, a rookie guy comes in, strips the ball away from him. Game over.
Did you see that last sack by Aaron Donald? He didn't even touch him. He just kind of whipped by him and then he fell to the ground.
He's disgusting. Like that team it makes me speechless. They're gonna if they don't win a Super Bowl in the next 2 years, I think it'll fall apart. You look at the contract situation over there. They're gonna have to pay a lot of people very, very soon. So they need to capitalize this year and the year after in order to make the most out of their roster right now. Their roster is the best in the league, and there's no doubt
I'll
about that.
say this one thing. I do have them winning the Super Bowl. They were my preseason pick to win the Super Bowl. I think they have the best roster in the NFL. But there's one thing that could end up being their weakness. They don't have good linebackers. And I think I said this last week on the show. When you get into a playoff scenario where you're going against Zach Ertz or someone like Kyle Rudolph, or even if you're in the Super Bowl against a guy like Travis Kelce or Rob Gronkowski, he can take the top off your linebackers. And that could end up being a problem for Sean McVay and Wade Phillips' defense. We have seen a Wade Phillips defense be exploited in the Super Bowl before. But then again, we have also seen a Wade Phillips defense dominate in the Super Bowl before. But the hopes are high for Rams. I would call them the new greatest show as of right now, barring any injuries. But like last week, my bad guys, we're going to have some NFL picks starting with the NFC Championship rematch. The Minnesota Vikings off a 1-2-1 record going against the 2-2 Philadelphia Eagles. Both teams kind of having a little bit of a disappointing start. MJ, who are you going to pick in this one?
You know what? I think the Eagles are still on a Super Bowl hangover. So I'm going to see the Vikings, and Kirk Cousins is going to prove one. It's going to be a close game, but Kirk Cousins is going to prove again, and he's going to tell everybody that. He's going to ask everybody if they like that, and everybody's going to respond that they do. Vikings win.
All right, Lucas.
We're going to my big prediction.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go low. I'm gonna go with the Vikings. They're very good. They've had a very difficult schedule so far. They tied with the Packers, even though they should have lost. But they should be 1-3. But that team is pretty good. Their offense is good. Defense has been playing not that great. I'm gonna go Vikings. Try to make it 4-0 in the season. NFL picks.
I'm gonna go with the Vikings too. The Eagles defense struggled with an injured Marcus Mariota and a much worse Titans offense than the Vikings. The Vikings defense has struggled as of late, but Carson Wentz does not look comfortable in the pocket. He doesn't look like the same Carson Wentz that we saw last year. I think the Vikings defense is going to have a little bit of bounce back week, but at the end of the day, Kirk Cousins is going to be too much for their weak corners of Jalen Mills and Ronald Darby. Brandon.
Before the season, I was thinking the Vikings were one of the stronger teams in the league, and to keep that confidence, I got to see the Vikings win this game. Going up against the Eagles, I just think the Vikings are going to take it, and I hope they do. So yeah, Vikings.
All right, next game up, a potential AFC Championship match this year. The Jacksonville Jaguars, Saxonville versus the Kansas City Chiefs.
I'm going to go with the Jaguars just because the Chiefs on a short week. And Blake Bortles is going to establish why he is the GOAT.
Best of all time, Lucas.
It's a matchup between best offense versus best defense. They say defense wins championships. I'm taking the Jaguars here.
I'm actually going to have to agree. I'm going to take the Jaguars. I think this is going to be the first team to get to Mahomes. I think Tyreek Hill versus Jalen Ramsey is kind of a bad matchup. And yeah, I like the Jags this week.
Safety helps good too.
Safety helps. I don't think the loss of Fournette's going to really hurt them too much, but the Jags have some pretty good receivers, and they're going to be able to take the top off of the Kansas City defense. Brandon.
Where's the game?
I have no clue, actually.
Is it in Jacksonville? Because I want to do the thing.
We'll just cut all this out.
It's in Kansas City.
Damn.
Arrowhead.
I was going to say Duval, but that's okay. Yeah, I think Jacksonville's going to win. These guys are pretty strong. Were we all in unison on that one?
Yeah, we've been on
first two picks.
First
Nice.
two picks.
Oh,
All right.
So we're all going to have the same record.
The next one is shootout. The Steelers versus the Falcons. MJ.
I hate both teams, but I guess I'm going to go with the Steelers.
All right, Lucas.
Falcons are surprisingly 1-3, which actually is shocking because they've been competitive all their games. The Steelers' offense just has not looked the same without Le'Veon Bell. I played against them last week, paid off. I think I'm gonna go Falcons here.
All right.
I'd like to see the Steelers win this game. I think that they have the excitement that Le'Veon Bell is going to be returning, which I think is pretty important for just the overall environment of that team. So I'd like to see them take it.
I'm actually going to pick the Falcons. Shout out to Max Forstad, who's going to be a recurring guest host on this.
Hey, don't sleep on 4.
Don't sleep on
Don't
4.
sleep on 4. But I'm going to pick the Falcons. I think Matt Ryan's playing at an elite level right now. That defense is really, really hurting in Atlanta. But the Steelers' defense sucks.
They get Freeman back, too.
That's true. They're going to get Freeman back. The Steelers have no running game with James Conner. I love James Conner. He's on my fantasy team. But
Yards per carry, not good.
his yards per carry is
Wait,
not good.
did you just say, is Matt Ryan elite?
No, he is elite. Do we think Matt
Is
Ryan's
he
elite?
elite?
I think he's playing at an elite level.
He's the
right
number
now.
2 quarterback in fantasy right now.
That's true. I have him on my
And
team.
I guess he's dabbling near the elite status.
All right.
Is this hot?
I'm just going to pick the Falcons. No more explanation necessary. It's going to be a shootout. Falcons win. Moving on to the NCAA, the organization we all hate, but they do put out one fine product, college football. Last week, I'm so sorry, Lucas, Syracuse losing in a close one to Clemson, but Clemson did take a hurt at the quarterback position for the second year in a row to Syracuse when they lost QB Trevor Lawrence in the second quarter with a head/neck injury. Lucas, you have any comment on this?
He didn't look good when he was playing. I'd just like to point that out. He looked mediocre. I get that he was very, very, very highly ranked, but honestly, their backup looked way better, and I legitimately think that if Trevor Lawrence stayed in the game, the superior orange would have pulled out the win. But it's fine, 4-1 of the season. We have a matchup against.
Can I
Pitt.
just say something?
We're fine.
Clemson, you're the biggest pussies ever. You can't charge the field after
They do that to everyone.
almost losing to Syracuse. After every win, you're supposed to be a top 4 program. You don't see Ohio State or Alabama charging the field, do you?
Well, there are rules in the SEC that you cannot charge the field, so that will explain why Alabama is not charging the field.
Clemson is not a top 4 team. I'm just gonna put that out there.
I'm just gonna put this out there: if Trevor Lawrence is actually hurt, which is very possible, they should take neck and head injuries very seriously. The ACC has no shot at getting a playoff team.
They're not that good.
The ACC is one of the weakest conferences in college.
Is
football
NC
right now.
State good at all?
They're ranked.
They're
Ryan Finley's good again. They just lost their entire defensive line.
Clemson's literally gonna play 3 top 25 teams, maybe, and that's at most.
I don't know. Miami doesn't excite me either. But all right, that's Clemson lost Trevor Lawrence. Hopefully they're getting him back. But the best game of last weekend, the whiteout, Ohio State versus Penn State in Happy Valley. Ohio State pulling out a win after a controversial 4th down call by James Franklin. MJ, we know you're hyped about this. What do you have to say about that call?
James Franklin, I think it's time to take your talent somewhere else.
He had an offer to go to Texas A&M this year.
Let me just say, Ohio State, after that win, it took grit, it took brotherhood, and this is going to bond these guys even closer, and guess what? Ohio State will be at the national championship, and I might make an appearance there.
Oh, shit, MJ Eisenberg. Lucas, you have any comment on this game? I was with you when you watched it.
I was. We had to take a short intermission to watch have Ethan Fox play Kodak Black videos. Not that great, but the game indeed was great. Ohio State showed that they're a top 4 team easily. Penn State, yikes. That call on 4th down, 4th and 5, they ran the ball.
They ran the
Read
ball.
option. Like,
Wait,
what?
no. They called a timeout to, see Ohio State's defense. Ohio State called a timeout. Then they called another timeout just to run the ball. They called
So
2
dumb.
timeouts to run the ball.
No, that was bad.
James, I'm just going to call you Jimmy. You don't have Saquon Barkley anymore. You can't do stuff like that. I'm not saying Miles Sanders wasn't good. He was a 5-star running back a few years ago, but you had the best running back in college football and maybe of this decade. Yeah, you could do stuff like that. But no, Trace McSorley's playing amazing. Why not put the ball back in his hands? But let me just put this out there also. If Nick Bosa was playing, there's no way Trace McSorley runs for 100-some-odd yards. But, yeah, that was the best game of the week last week in Happy Valley. Congratulations to Coach Urban Meyer and Ohio State for pulling out the win. Yeah, man, I don't know. But in other news, there was another big game on Saturday night. The Florida Gators going down to Stark Vegas to beat Mississippi State 13-6. It was a true SEC game, but that's not what we're going to focus on. We're going to focus on the matchup at hand this week. Are we going to see an upset in Gainesville this week? The number 5 LSU Tigers, Coach O, is coming into town. And it's the biggest game in the Swamp since 2015 when, of course, they beat the number 3 Ole Miss Rebels. Are we going to see an upset in Gainesville? I mean, we're going to be picking...
Sam, I know this is a very touchy subject for you. Coach O versus your favorite team.
It's really hard. It's really hard. to pick your allegiances because I do love Coach O so much. Lucas, what do you have to say about this game?
Me, Brandon, and Sam are all going to be in games this weekend.
We all will be making an appearance at this game. I think it's going to be an electric atmosphere, a blue out. We're going to be picking this game, but is there upset brewing?
LSU's so good, man.
We'll discuss this
I don't
later.
know. I think
They're really
it's going to be a
good.
very high-scoring game. I'm going to say that. No defense will be played.
Yes,
Felipe
that is
Franks
definitely
will
SEC football. All right, moving on to our game picks, starting with the Red River rivalry. Is Texas back taking on Oklahoma?
Hook 'em horns.
All right, MJ making it clear who he wants. Lucas,
What's Oklahoma's rank?
I'm pretty sure it's 5 or 6.
I'm taking Texas.
Oh shit, Brandon.
Texas excites me again. I love Texas, the state, not any particular college. Texas has the most beautiful women in the world. I will say it again. This is the second time I've said this. I said this last week. But yes, hook 'em horns. Let's go, baby. UT.
Medium take. Tech guy Brandon is just picking all of our picks so he doesn't come in last place.
That's not
That's
true.
a very medium.
That's hot. That's hot take.
I'm gonna differ
Take
from
it
everyone
back.
else. Yes, I know Charlie Strong did beat Oklahoma with a much worse team, but Kyler Murray just looks unstoppable to me right now. I'm going to go with Oklahoma. I think they're too much. But next pick, what I alluded to earlier, the upset in Gainesville, Florida versus LSU. We're going to start with MJ. Like I said, like Lucas said, actually, Lucas, Brandon, and myself are going to be at the game this weekend.
I think both teams are really good, but I think LSU pulls through in a really close game. Might even go to overtime. Guax Tigers.
UX Tigers. All right. Coach O.
LSU, that secondary's nuts. Defensive back university. Sorry, Ohio State fan over here.
Whoa, apologize to Florida, too. We have the most interceptions in the country right now.
Shut up. All right, but I'm going LSU. UF's pretty good, but Felipe Franks is not that great of a quarterback.
All right. Brandon.
I'm picking UF.
All
Chomp
right.
chomp. Don't say that I pick all of your picks, MJ. Thanks.
Brandon making it clear that he is not a follower. This may sound like a little bit of a homer pick, but I'll explain why. I am going to side with the Gators. Coach O came out and said that this is the best defense that LSU has seen. And Joe Burrow, everyone's hyping him up to be some amazing quarterback. But honestly, he kind of has very similar numbers to Felipe Franks.
Yeah, so fuck you, Joe Burrow.
MJ obviously hates Joe Burrow, but Felipe Franks only has like 70 less passing yards or something than him. But I honestly think Florida's going to win this game. I think they're going to be the first defense to really get pressure on Burrow. A much worse defense handled Darius Geis last year. Nick Brissett is not a better running back than Darius Geis. Yes, Greedy Williams is going to present a problem. Yes, Devin White in the middle. It's a very good defense, but I think it's going to be a defensive battle. And honestly, I'd take Todd Grantham over any defensive coordinator in the country right now. I know that's a little bit of a hot take, but if you look at this defense, they look ridiculous. I mean, that engage 8 call on 4th down last week when Donovan Steiner just destroyed Nick Fitzgerald on the last play of the game. That was a ballsy call, and that's a call that's going to win you a football game and win you the biggest upset in the swamp since 2015. Moving on, an ACC versus an independent, some
So fucking
independent
dumb.
scum school. Virginia Tech versus Notre Dame. MJ.
The Fighting Irish are going to pull through and play like champions.
Stop
I mean, they manhandled Stanford and their mascot that is a tree. I don't know how your mascot could be a tree. So, go Notre Dame.
All right, Lucas.
I'm going to go Notre Dame.
Brandon.
Virginia Tech.
Upset alert.
Upset alert. I'm going to go Notre Dame. Virginia Tech, no Josh Jackson. They're not winning this game. Ian Book's playing at a high level. We'll go Notre Dame. Tonight is a good night in sports, especially up north in Canada.
I say it might be the best month in sports
it
right
might
now.
be the best month in sports starting tonight because the NHL is back.
Who knew? I didn't know until I came home from school today. And it was like, wait, the NHL is back.
I knew because I've been waiting for it all summer since my Washington Capitals took home the Stanley Cup
Caps
back in
year.
the beginning of June. It's still Caps year. Sorry, everybody else, until 2018's over. But NHL starts tonight. MJ, you have any predictions for the season or anything you're looking for?
Well,
forward to?
first of all, a big fuck you, John Tavares. You were supposed to be our hero, our savior, and you just took my heart and you ripped it into a million little pieces.
It was a really bad summer for you.
Yeah,
You lost
so that's
LeBron
why
and John Tavares.
that's why I'm just trying to stay away from hockey. But guess what? We have a little guy named Matthew Barzal, and guess what? The Islanders, they might be decent, but I'm saying watch out for the San Jose Sharks. They're just gonna be. They might win the Stanley Cup. That's all I'm saying. And will Vegas return? Are they going to be good again? Who
That's
knows?
actually right now my Stanley Cup pick because they went to the Stanley Cup Finals last year. Yes, they did lose in 5 games, but let's face it, nobody was beating that Capitals team last year. They were a team of destiny. This isn't even because I'm a homer. It's just watch them play. I mean, the Lightning were clearly the best team last year, and they just handled them. But I don't know if the Capitals will get back. It's very possible. They have literally the same exact team, minus Philip Grubauer and Jay Beagle, who really both didn't contribute that much to the team. The Capitals can do it again, but a Stanley Cup hangover might be in store.
How about Nashville?
Especially since how much they drank. Nashville will always have a good team.
They have potential.
They have potential. I mean, they were the number 1 team in the West last year.
Can we talk about how good Adidas has done with the alternate jerseys?
The alternate jerseys are sexy.
And Carolina, we all hate them, but when they wear the Hartford Whaler jerseys, I don't know. I can't resist. Can you?
Oh, no, I get a boner. But a team to look out for, this may be because we're here, but I actually do read up a lot about them. The Florida Panthers, I think, are going to shock some people this year. They're just a few years removed from a playoff run.
They might have a few thousand fans in the seat.
That is true. Some of them might be me and MJ Eisenberg, but yes, they did make the fuck up of the century with firing Gerard Gallant a few years ago and getting rid of Riley Smith and Jonathan Marchessault in the expansion draft. Part of the reason why Vegas went to the Stanley Cup last year. But look, head coach Bob Bauner has done a really good job down in Florida. I really like the Panthers this year. I think adding Mike Hoffman was great for them. Aaron Ekblad's going to take a step forward from last year. I mean, he was looking like a Norris Trophy winner.
Is Luge still in net?
Luge is still in net. Strombone won.
Right. Because I'll be happy when I go to the games and get to scream his name.
Luge.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. That's basically our hockey prediction. Hopefully it's Caps here again. Right now my pick is going to be Vegas. Obviously it's going to change as the season goes along. I think one of the surprise players of the year is going to be Matthew Barzal for the New York Islanders. I think he's going to take a huge role in the offense. And Barry Trotz.
Yeah. I think it's going to be like a 3 to 5 year plan.
3 to 5 year plan, yeah. You got to get more excitement. You got to bring Islander hockey back to greatness.
Yeah.
But safe to say we are both very excited for the NHL to start. I love the NHL. I love the NHL playoffs especially. But speaking of playoffs, last night, of course we're recording today, is Wednesday. The NL Wild Card started, meaning the MLB playoffs started with a bang. The Colorado Rockies went to Wrigley and beat the Chicago Cubs in 13 innings. And yeah, who would have thought that the Cubs would be out in the first round of the playoffs?
Yeah, I did not expect that. I was watching the game and I was like, how can the Cubs lose? First of all, Wrigley Field might be the best home advantage. I don't think one person sat in their seat the whole entire game, so that's just on the Cubs not performing well. They didn't have any offense.
Personally, I thought that Cole Hamels was going to be this year's Justin Verlander, but I guess my prediction was painfully wrong. And yeah, the Cubs are gone, and the Rockies, they look like a team of destiny.
Yeah.
Kyle Freeland's something.
Medium take, are the Rockies players medicated? Because they do play in Colorado.
They might be a little high. Did you see that hug between Nolan Arenado?
Yeah, he might have not known.
They might be baked. But by the time this podcast is out, tonight's game will be over. The Yankees versus the A's. MJ, you have a quick pick for that?
I hate the Yankees, so Oakland.
I fucking hate the Yankees, but I think the Yankees are going to beat the A's. And then I think they're going to beat the Red Sox, unfortunately. My Red Sox, unfortunately. But I do not think that they're going to get out of the East. I do think... Not the East. What am I thinking? The AL. I think that the Houston Astros are going to go back to the World Series, although I do not think they're going to win it. I think the Milwaukee Brewers are going to win it behind NL MVP Christian Yelich. This kid's phenomenal.
I don't want to wet my beak or anything, but the Indians do have the potential to make the World Series.
I mean, yes, every team in the playoffs does have the potential to make the World Series.
But, look at that lineup. It's just...
Yeah, true. With Josh Johnson back.
I was getting my hair cut this week, and during the game, while I was getting my hair cut, they had the Brewers-Cubs game on. Yelich looks pretty good. Also, shout out Fades. Thanks, Brad, for putting me onto that.
Of course.
Yeah, Yelich looks pretty good, but I don't think Yelich is going to be the one who powers them to it. I think Lorenzo Cain's going to have a fantastic playoff, and I think the Rockies are a very favorable matchup for the Brewers. And yeah, the MLB playoffs are here. It's the best month in sports, but we're going to go back to Sundays a little bit for the NFLs. But one of the big storylines from the NFL this week was when the Chicago Bears blew out the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and that leads us to the question, are the Bears back?
The Bears. I think the Bears are back. That defense is unreal. Khalil Mack, John Gruden, you might be the biggest retard on this planet.
He might have Down syndrome.
Sorry for using the R word, but how do you get rid of possibly a once-in-a-lifetime pass rusher? This guy's already going to the Hall of Fame, no doubt.
All right, Lucas, are the Bears back?
Yeah, wow. That team is like disgusting. The thing is, right now they're the third, in my opinion, they're the third best team in their division, behind the Vikings. Even though their record doesn't show it, the Vikings I think are better than them. I think anytime you have Aaron Rodgers on a team, you're the best team in that division. But they're good. Like, they're very good. I think you still have some issues with a few spots on defense. You got to shore up a little bit. But Khalil Mack makes so much of that just go away. So I think they'll be very good this year. But I think next year's when they truly make the next step. Mitch Trubisky looked pretty good. It looked like like if he obviously won't be able to play like that every single week. He's not Patrick Mahomes, but yeah, like if he keeps playing like that, it'll totally justify his draft selection.
Look, everyone needs to calm down a little bit. The Buccaneers' defense is painfully bad.
Yeah, I was going to say, on like two of the touchdowns, the wide receivers were just wide open.
Yes, I think the Bears' defense is legit. I like the Bears' defense a lot. The offense looks a little bit shaky, but we have seen teams with bad offenses get to the Super Bowl in the past. I wouldn't call them back yet. I need to see a little more out of Trubisky. I need to see him be a little more consistent. He did have a fantastic game. I'm not knocking him for that. I just need to see a little more consistency out of the offense to pronounce the Bears back and beat Aaron Rodgers. They need to beat Aaron Rodgers.
I have a John Gruden quote. He said, "Damn, Khalil Mack had another strip sack. Are you kidding me?"
Well, no, John, maybe you should go back
maybe
to
you should
the
scout
booth.
the guy. Maybe you should just like understand that Khalil Mack's the best defender. He's the best defender in the league. That's my medium take. Like put that out there right now.
We do miss you in the booth, John, but we're a quarter of the way through with the NFL season, leading us to go over our NFL quarter awards, starting with MJ.
So what are we basing it on? Like
Just
what
the
are
first 4 games.
First 4 games.
Like who's the best?
MVP.
If we have to give it
Coach
to
of the Year.
someone right now.
Alright, so MVP, I'm going to say probably Patrick Mahomes. Coach of the Year, Sean McVay again. Rookie of the Year,
Offensive and defense.
I'd say offensive. I want to say Baker Mayfield, but he's only played in 2 games. So I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say defensive Rookie of the Year, definitely Denzel Ward. That Browns defense is fire. Fuego.
All right, Lucas Lima.
My MVP is Patrick Mahomes. That man is unstoppable right now. Offensive Rookie of the Year, MJ, you're gonna like this one. I have Baker Mayfield. I think you look at the rest of the Rookie of the Years, like the rest of the offensive players in this class. You have maybe Saquon. You could say.
The Giants are awful.
No, they really are. Defensive Rookie of the Year, Derwin James, a safety for the Chargers. He's good. He
He is
slipped in the
good.
draft, but he's very, very good. I watched him tear apart the Niners offense. It was disgusting. Defensive Player of the Year, Khalil Mack. That's pretty easy.
Yeah, I
to
forgot
make.
though.
That's pretty easy to make for me. And Coach of the Year, I'm gonna go Andy Reid.
All right, I'm going to start with MVP. I'm going to have to side with you guys. I'm going to say Patrick Mahomes. His numbers are too good. His team's playing too well. I love this kid, Patrick Mahomes. Defensive Player of the Year, I'm going to side with Lucas, Khalil Mack. This guy's a strip sack in every game of the year. He just looks like a different animal. I mean, he looks...
He's pissed he got traded.
He is... I don't think he's pissed. I think he's happy. He just
No,
wants-
but he's taking
I
it out.
think
the
he,
rest of the
yeah,
league.
like
Oh, yeah, he's
He's
taking...
going
he's
off.
got a fat chip on his shoulder right now.
Yeah, Khalil Mack is scary. Offensive Rookie of the Year, I'm going to go with Calvin Ridley, wide receiver from the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons' offense is flourishing, and Calvin Ridley has kind of been at the head of
is
that.
Julio on the hot seat?
I wouldn't call Julio the hot seat. Julio leads the NFL in receiving yards right now with the 502 receiving
No
yards.
touchdowns.
no touchdowns, obviously, because Steve Sarkisian hates Julio in the red zone. But Calvin Ridley has like 6 touchdowns in 4 games. That's
Pretty
ridiculous. I mean, that might be an unsustainable pace, but I like what I see out of Calvin Ridley. He is used to playing in that stadium, as he did go to the SEC championship 2 times in his college career at Alabama. My defensive rookie of the year, I was originally siding with Darius Leonard, the linebacker out of the Indianapolis Colts, but I'm going to have to go Denzel Ward. Looks really good on the Browns defense. I like him a lot. And then my coach of the year, I'm just going to have to side with Andy Reid. We all expected the Rams to be playing this well, so that's why I'm not going to give it to Sean McVay. I don't think anyone expected the Chiefs to be this good. I think everyone expected them to be good, but not this good. I'm going to have to go with Andy Reid. But another guy to look out for is Matt Nagy in Chicago. That Chicago team looks really good.
Or Mike Vrabel. He went for it on 4th down in
So
overtime
funny.
at least 3 times, so he's got some big balls.
See, he runs laps before the games.
Yeah, I did see that. He's running suicides.
That is a
You think he
football
runs suicides on the plane? Maybe.
Maybe. And that is today's rundown.
Also, about the Titans, they do use For the Boys, so
All right.
fan favorite.
That is today's rundown.
Trick or treat. We are gonna do our top 5 Halloween candy. So Sam, you want to start off?
Yeah, at number 5, I'm going to go with the Jolly Rancher lollipops. I don't really ever see those, except for Halloween. Number 4, full bars of candy. I like those. Number 3, the
Just full bars.
just any full bars. you know?
I respect that.
Number 3, cookies and cream Hershey's. I like those a lot. Number 2, the Twix, especially the right Twix. We don't fuck with that left Twix.
I gotta disagree with you on that one.
Oh,
big left
fuck.
Twix.
And number 1, Three Musketeers. I don't really eat those except for Halloween. So yeah.
All right, Brandon, it's your top 5.
I'm actually gonna have to change my number 5 to Three Musketeers now that I'm thinking about it. Three Musketeers is gonna go my number 5. Number 4, we're gonna go with Snickers. You're not you when you're hungry, so just eat a Snickers. Number 3, Milky Way. Number 2 and number 1 are really, really close for me. Number 2 definitely has to be Butterfingers because recently my number 1 has been Reese's Cups. Bless you, Sam. And it has been for the past few years.
All right, my top 5. Number 5, I gotta go Snickers. 4, I gotta go the good old Crunch Bar. Number 3, you know the orange Kit Kats they give out?
Yeah.
That's my number 3.
Good choice on a Halloween edition.
Thank you. My number 2 is Twix, and my number 1, kind of controversial. I'm gonna go candy corn.
Right, so my top 5, starting with 5, Milky Way. 4, Cookies and Cream Hershey. 3, Warheads. Like, everybody loves Warheads.
Those are good.
Those are solid.
Number 2, Right Twix. Fuck you, Left Twix. And number 1, one of my all-time favorites, the Vanilla Kit Kat. Very underrated. But any honorable mentions that we have?
I'd like to go back to my number 1 statement. It's staying as Reese's Cups, but as this is a Halloween-related segment, there is the pumpkin or jack-o'-lantern shaped Reese's Cups, and those are very good, and I'd like to give those a special shout-out.
Give a shout out to the dentist in my neighborhood who gives out toothpaste. Love you, man. Thank you.
Alright, you can only eat 1 bag of candy corn. We're just clear on that. Because if you eat 2 bags, then it's just gross.
Yeah, fuck you, Lucas.
Alright, and that is our top 5 Halloween candies. And now, the medium takes. We'll start off with Lucas.
All right, my medium take. San Francisco 49ers quarterback C.J. Beathard will outperform rookie quarterback Josh Rosen in Sunday's game. Rosen looked good last week. A lot of drops by receivers. I have to go Beathard. He's pretty solid. Not that bad of a guy.
Alright, tech guy Brandon.
So Patrick Mahomes, dude is electric. He's on fire right now. He is possibly looking at an MVP season. The thing that's not looking at an MVP season is the dude's voice. Sounds like Kermit the Frog. Just so funny. It's so funny. I think my actual medium take is Patrick Mahomes has the funniest voice in television right now. In entertainment as a whole. Because he is putting on a show. And that is an entertaining show. And he also has a funny voice. So that's what I'm going to say.
I want to see him win MVP just so I can hear his fucking speech. It's going to be so funny. I like to thank my family and my friends.
It's like a mix between a Texas accent and a little girl.
It's a little bit of like high school geek in there, and then you've got it.
A very weird combination. Right, on to Sam's medium take.
Originally I was going to talk about David Price choking in the playoffs again, but that's just given. My medium take actually doesn't have to do with sports. I'm just going to make it that Brett Kavanaugh, the new Supreme Court maybe the new Supreme Court Justice, he likes beer. That is my medium take.
He does like beer.
It's very medium, Sam.
It's very
Right.
medium.
My medium take is, my first medium take is that bus 1 for the after homecoming party at Spanish River will be the most underrated bus, and it'll in fact be the most lit bus.
Underrated.
Fuck you.
If anything, it's overrated.
It's the top
If
of the
anything,
bus.
It's the top.
Yeah.
It's the top bus. You can't be underrated if you're.
MJ, I
looked
wouldn't
at
call that
that.
overrated. That's
People sleep on
that's a hot
bus 3.
take.
That was a hot
Bus 3 is slept
No,
on.
my
That's all I'm gonna
bad.
say.
My real take is the Browns will be 500 or above in the second quarter of the season. So just in the second quarter.
Alright.
And that is the Medium podcast.
Real quick, just gotta jump in. I have to shout out the Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania. I guess the Quakers right now are 2-1 in their football season, which is good. But that's not really what I'm focused on. Office of Admissions at the University of Pennsylvania. This is me begging for you to accept me. I love you so much. Thank you.
The Ivy League, a very tough football conference.
He edits a 20-view podcast. Come on.
Yeah.
Let him in.
How can you turn this down?
Just like to get a quick shout out, send some love to TNT announcer Ernie Johnson. He'll be missing the Major League Baseball playoffs after being diagnosed with blood clots in both of his legs. Inside the NBA is truly one of the best sports programs I think I've ever seen in my life. The chemistry those guys all have, and EJ's the guy who ties it all together. Much love to you, man.
We'll miss,
Get better, please.
we'll miss you, EJ, and this podcast in your honor. But for now, MJ Eisenberg, Lucas Lima, Brandon Morantz, I'm Sam Petosa, signing off to you. Thank you for the listen, and follow at the Medium Podcast on Twitter. At Medium_podcast
And
on
let's
Twitter.
go Indians. They're going to win.
Let's go Red Sox. Let's go Caps. Gators are going to beat LSU this weekend. Follow at the Medium Podcast on Instagram, and that's our show, everybody. Thank you very much.